been a lot. It's been a lot. Welcome back to my channel. First and foremost, there's so many things that have happened in the last few days. One was The Devil Wears Prada 2 premiere, and then the next was my daughter's wedding. Insane. But I'm not talking about either one of those today. What I'm whining about today is this video.
I'm going to South Korea with my friend for 10 days. And this is a friend that I've never traveled with domestically.
So what I'm whining about is girls' trips. And I don't even think I was really going to talk about it because I honestly am not a girls' trip connoisseur. But when I saw that video and the way people are still coming from me and my edges on the video of how I lost a friendship of 30 years, a lot of the comments were, that's because Miami, every time you go to Miami. And I was like, you know what? Not too much on Miami. Let me say that. Girls' trip, let's talk about it. So the comments on my video were that this is what happens when you go to Miami. I don't know what it is about Miami or it's not Miami. I honestly don't think it's the destination. I think 100% I agree with that young lady. It is travel expectations as well as non-alignment. So the first trip I went on ever in life was with my children, and we went to Cancun 2009 during swine flu. And I'll never forget, because I know everybody knows of pandemic COVID, but a lot of people don't remember swine flu. And swine flu was scary. And I remember going through a travel agent and booking it and paying a little bit, and putting it on the calendar that we were going to go. And also on other videos, people come from me, you should be embarrassed that a woman at this big age is talking about finances. I say, fuck you to that. The way I've blocked people and hid my channel from viewers because y'all are a nasty piece of work. And I promise you, I will cut you off. You won't have access to my channel or me if you're going to be disrespectful. So yes, 2009, I have 3 children. I am, working in my civil service job. I don't have a lot of money, and I'm going to go. And I remember my boss said to me, if you go on this trip, I may not let you back in the building because people were afraid of swine flu. And I said to her, my money's there. And my children were so excited. Long story short of that, we get on the plane. There's only 7 people on the plane because people were terrified. We get to Cancun. The resort that we were going to stay in was closed due to low occupancy. So they moved us to a very luxurious hotel that I would have never been able to pay for. And we had the best time ever and whatever. But those are my children, and they're going to have the best time because they're with their mother. And we were in a different place and having a good time. Back to the point of this is this made me think about it, how we're bashing Miami. Even though Miami's not a real place. I think that the biggest issue that happens with girls' trips that may not happen with guy trips that I've never been on is that the alignment. 2 years ago, I told the story. I am going to be at an event with some friends on a panel in the DC area. It's not, this is not international travels, but in the DC area. And there's a lot of women. And we're all mature women. And we're going to go and we're going to be there for several days. And we are going to, one of the ladies was retiring and was having a retirement dinner. So we were going to go to that. And then the next day we were going to be speaking on a panel in Kendra Scott's store. And then after we were going to be having a brunch at a restaurant. And it was a lot of people. It was all very fantastic. But during the planning process, one of the individuals was very much a content creator. So we're going to use this time to do moments, lots of moments. So we're going to go here. We're going to shoot this content. We're going to go walking out here. We're going to the waterfront. We're going to do here. No, I'm not going to do that. And I think that sometimes on the trips, it's like you are afraid to say no or set boundaries on what you're going to do, or are honest. And my friend and I talk about this, her husband, that he coined the phrase, but financially dishonest. You are going to go and travel with someone and you are not honest about your finances is detrimental. That's going to cause a problem. That's go. Girl, if you broke, you broke. If I'm broke, I'm not going. If you've paid all the way up for this trip and you're getting ready to leave on the trip and you have $200 with you only, you need to make that known ahead of time. And finances in life ebbs and flows, and this is not calling anybody out, because there might, today I might have $200 and tomorrow I might have 20. That's not the point. The point is, I'm not going to get myself all gussied up and get in an Uber and head over to Nobu and order a ribeye and 1942 or whatever the children drink, and then the bill comes and you're like. So I think when people travel and they're financially dishonest, that's one part. The other part of it is your travel expectations and accommodations. I know some people that are like, it's just the destination is the most important part. The accommodations and travel is not important. That is not my ministry. I do not like an Airbnb, because when I need a towel, I want a towel. I don't want to wash a towel. When I want a room service and I want a Caesar salad and fries at 12 o'clock, I would like a Caesar salad and fries at 12 o'clock. That doesn't mean, it doesn't mean that it can't happen, but we need to sit down and have expectations. And so people get mad when they land in, Phuket, and they get to the Airbnb and there's like bug netting and the tub is dirty. You didn't say to the coordinator what your expectations around the accommodations were. So then that's a problem. The other thing is, I'm a dilly-dallier. I'm a lounger arounder. I am a relaxer. I'm a see the sights, lounge by the pool. I tell people I am not a traveler yet. I'm a vacationer. I haven't vacationed enough in life to consider myself a traveler. And what I mean by that is this. I worked with a woman who traveled. And so she's going on a trip and she's telling me she's going to be in a yurt and that they are going to be packing hiking boots and granola bars, and they're going to sleep in this place. And then the next day, the guide's going to come and get them on a horse or a camel or a donkey and take them someplace else. I have not reached that level of anything in life. I am still a vacationer. I am not a world traveler, and I'm not ashamed of it, but I've traveled a good amount in the last few years, and I'm grateful, but I'm still a vacationer. I would like a piñata and Cobb salad by the pool or the beach. That's just me. But if you're a person that's like, okay, this is the itinerary, and I'm like, 5 a.m., I'm not going to do that. So that's another problem with trips. And I see some of the trips where it's like, it's just a girl's trip and then somebody's man shows up. I don't like that. You and all of the travel guests are not aligned. You are all not friends. I don't think I should meet a individual for the first time in life on a 7-day trip out of the country. I got to know you. And so when we did our first trip, that first Kendra Scott event in DC area, when I was ready to go, I left. And that's, after the event, we did all our brunch, we did our meet and greets, we met all the people. It was lovely. And it was, and we did our thing. The girls had gone to spa and taken pictures in their robes and the towels on their head, all the things. And that's okay. You should do that. And if that's not what I choose to do, or other people didn't choose to do that, then that group shouldn't be mad and we shouldn't be mad. And so I think that's where a lot of problems come in on these trips. So now we're going to do a second conference, and this conference is going to be in Atlanta. And it was the same, a lot of the same people, and it was preparing before we left to go on the trip, and there were a lot of Zoom calls, and this is what we're going to do, and I think we should do this and this. And I'm very verbal, and I know people have come for me on YouTube. YouTube is a wild place. Like, people say very nasty things to me, and I'm gonna get a thicker skin and I'm gonna say it back. But I think that being honest with yourself first is important. So when the comments, the Zoom call, I remember when the Zoom calls was like, we're going to do this, this, and this. And I said, no, I'm not going to do that. This is not a college tour for me. I am committed to the event of the day. I don't need to be getting up and taking pictures with parasols out on, the lanai. I don't need to do that. And so those boundaries were clear. And the trip was fine because you're honest. So I think when people are like, oh, it's Miami, it's not Miami. I think it is people's expectations are not clear and concise when they are planning a trip. You understand what I'm saying? If you want to be out at the bar until 2, 3, swinging, woo, having a good time, and your travel companion is like, by 10 o'clock, I'm in the bed with a book, that shouldn't cause friends to fall out. And so to go back to the friendship video, it's like, it wasn't, the trip was the final straw. The issue was what I've stated and what some people have agreed with, and you don't have to agree with. But one of the things that ruined our friendship is we had not, that was the end of our friendship, not ruined our friendship, was that we had not been in proximity with each other in forever. And so when we were in proximity to each other, it dawned on her that she didn't like me. We don't need to go back to that because I'm not playing with y'all. Also, I think that's what happens on girls' trips. If you're talking to your girlfriend every day, FaceTime and talking key, whatever, you still don't see the nuances of a person and how they sleep and how they're doing that thing in the morning that drives you crazy, or they don't shower before they get into bed, or they get into bed with their feet dirty, or they spending their whole time talking to their man. So sometimes you don't really know someone until you travel with them. Which brings me to my friend Tanja. I met Tanja at that first Kendra Scott event. We were some of the guests that were invited to the Friends retirement dinner that happened to be the same weekend. I was lucky enough to get a car with Cadillac for that weekend to do a campaign. And so the retiree asked if I would bring several of the guests in my car to the retirement dinner location, which was fine. Tanja was one of them. We got along. We had a wonderful time. That was May of 2024. February was when Eddie died. I met Tanja May. Just so happens that a trip offer comes for me for end of August, beginning of September, to go on Virgin Voyages. I was torn because I could only bring one person. I have 3 children. Which one do you pick? And my best friend Lisa was about to get married to the love of her life and has a young daughter who was going back to school. So I'm like, let me ask this lady. So I asked Tanja. I don't know Tanja well at all. We live in different states. I'm in New York. She's in Alabama. So we both took a chance. it has worked out for Tanja and I because Tanja is a educator through and through in her heart and her soul, been a principal, administrator, teacher. She loves it. So soon as I asked her, she was like, yes. She researched how to you pull the beds apart in Virgin, what we got to do, what are the things that we can do, what are we, how is it going to work? We still like, us gonna see. And you're on a ship, you can't even get off. So I get to Miami first, Miami, because the cruise was leaving out of Miami. I arrived in Miami first, and then she arrives later in the evening. We stay in a hotel room together. First time staying in a hotel room together. We're fine. We're starting to vibe. The next morning we get up, do a little fit check, get to the place. Tanja is, let me take your picture, friend. I'm like, let me take your picture, friend. We're good. We get on the boat, we get on the ship, and get to our room. The beds are already taken apart because she had done the research. We are getting ourselves together. We're doing a little exploring, do a little video, get back to the room. She pulls the iPad out. She puts on Columbo. Is that Columbo I see? Peter Falk is my man, okay? And the next thing you know, we are in the bed at like 9 o'clock at night. And we knew that we travel the same. We are the same. So it worked out. So I think that when people are like, oh, it's Miami, these Miami trips, I think no. I just think that the people are not aligned. I think that clear expectations aren't thought out. I think people don't discuss the nuances of how they travel, what they expect, what they want. You know, if you travel on a budget, that's they ain't nothing wrong. But if the other person wants to travel top tier, there's nothing wrong with that either. But that conversation should not happen in the middle of a jungle, safari. These are conversations that should happen because then that leads to these arguments and breakdown. And I'm not talking about the physical and all that kind of stuff that goes on. I'm just talking about we come back off this trip worse than before. And that's so unfortunate. So that really made me kind of think a lot when I saw that video and saw all the comments on my video about, yes, Miami does it again. And it's not Miami. It's not Miami. It's not, we're not traveling as adults, as mature people, as being verbal about our clear expectations and wants and plans. And I think that that's important. So I would like you in the comments to tell me what your thoughts are, why girls trips. All I can talk about is a girl trip because that's what I'm in. Why it ends up being the demise of a friendship. Give me your thoughts. Not about me. Please. Thank you so much for watching. Like, subscribe, and share, and turn on the notifications so you know when I post. And we're going to talk about all things wedding too, because it's a wild industry. Okay, talk to you guys soon. Bye.